Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, Martin Luther King Day, right? We're all on a holiday celebrating. I hope everyone has a meaningful and productive day today. I'm super excited to record the Dear Younger Self series for this next season. We are on episode 2, and I have Coach Candace Mackey here. um, she is going to talk to us about some of the amazing things that she has done in the coaching world and also share some great tidbits about what she would tell her younger self. As you all know, the Dear Younger Self series is where we collaborate with what I would like to say mature women like myself, and we invest and guide and provide suggestions to women and young women about the life lessons that they would share with their younger selves. So there's a million and one things that I feel like I can share. I wish I would have had a mentor, as I've mentioned in other series. And so this is the platform where we can come together, collaborate, and bring the nuggets to you. So without further ado, thank you, Coach Candace, for coming on
Thank
and
you for having
sharing
me.
some thoughts with us today.
Yes, you are very, very welcome. I am thrilled to be here with you, Crystal. Um, it is amazing, this platform that you've created so that people can learn from others, right? It is through the wisdom of others that we learn the most. In addition to experience, but the wisdom of others is just so rich. And so I appreciate you creating this platform for us to come together.
No, I'm super grateful. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate that. And that's exactly what my thought process was. I'm like, you know what? I wish I had someone to tell me this when I was, getting out of college or even exploring in high school what kind of career path I wanted to get on. And
Mhm.
so the mentors were super slim to none. And I've mentioned this before as well, is that, in college, I was told, well, 4-year university is too much for Crystal, so she can go into community college, which I have nothing against community college, but they wrote me off before they even got my perspective.
Yes.
And that fueled me, coach. I was like, you know what? No, I'm staying here. I'm gonna finish through. And so all these different chapters of our lives we can definitely tap into other women who have gone through those chapters and say, hey, what did you do in this situation? What did you do with this experience? How would you
You're
have
absolutely
handled
correct.
this?
Right, right. You're absolutely right.
So tell
Um,
us a little bit about yourself before we get into the juiciness of what you would like to share.
oh gosh. Um, Man, where to start? Uh, as Crystal mentioned, I am a connections coach. I am in partnership with her in extreme execution. My emphasis is on confident communications, knowing what you mean and being able to confidently stand behind that. I teach people and coach through something I call the SWAG systems. SWAG, SWAG, stands for self awareness, wisdom, acceptance, and grace, which is something I had to grow in, but I also realized I was shown a lot of grace throughout my life. I became a mom at 14. I was pregnant at 14. I had my first son at 15. And then waited 17 and a half years before I had my last two. I have another son, and my youngest is a daughter. She's 16. I spent a lot of time in corporate America. I've worked for companies like AT&T, Toyota Financial, and GoDaddy. But I was released into my new life. That's what I like to call it now, rather than
I
being
love
laid
it.
off. I was released into my new life in this new season of entrepreneurship last February, even though I had kind of been coaching in between. And it has been the most powerful time in my life because I've been able to really get answers as to why I perform the way I perform, answered the way I answered, shown up to different relationships the way that I've shown up. And I feel stronger and more confident than I've ever felt before. And that it really is exciting because I now can look back at what I've done and say, okay, I've got some answers now. Things make sense. The puzzle pieces are here. And if there's anything that, we can do coming together and working with young men and young women
Yeah.
to help them understand like everything in your teens and 20s is all feelings.
Mm.
Careful making life decisions based on feelings.
Mm. I would advise everybody to write that down, right? Can you
Yes,
say that one more time,
everything.
Coach?
Sure. Everything in your teens and in your 20s is all based on feelings. You see the facts, but you're always like, but I feel like everything is feelings. And be careful making really heavy life decisions in your 20s. And that's not to say don't, but get counsel. For example, we know a lot of people, if you look at the last, we'll say 30 to 50 years, you get married in your 20s and then you have your children in your early 20s and then you move on into your 30s and 40s, then you look back into your 20s and you ask a lot of individuals, not all, but if you ask a lot of individuals, they'll tell you I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should have done that. But you can also ask those same individuals whose relationships have lasted, whose children are doing fantastic. What did you do? I relied on my village. I got counsel. My mom was there for me. I had a favorite auntie that was there. I had a mentor that kept up with me. You cannot do great life by yourself.
Yes.
You'll spin your wheels and you'll make decisions and then you'll wonder why things aren't working out the way you think they should. You Life is about collaboration, and that collaboration shows up in mentorship, partnerships, friendships. It shows up in so many different ways. And so allow the people in your life the ability to kind of say, might want to watch out for that one. Have you asked these questions? Uh,
Mm.
I picked up on something. Have you guys talked about that? So I think I mentioned earlier, my daughter is 16. And so she's a majority of her life, she's watched me coach. And so she's taking some of these coaching practices that you and I do in extreme execution to her teenage friends. And some of it's gotten her in trouble, not in trouble, but because she's working with individuals whose parents don't think the way that we think, don't
Okay.
coach the way that we coach. The friends rejected her
Mm.
and she was ostracized, and people spread rumors about her to get her to quote go away because what she was saying made sense and
That's,
would cause the young lady to not be with the young man anymore,
mm.
or challenged friend groups, or challenged the integrity of the individual that was part of the group and kind of spreading dissension. So we've gone through a lot. I've learned even more, even though I coach and I work with adults, working with these teens and getting them to kind of see life differently has been quite eye opening and is so very necessary.
What's beautiful about that is that she is 16 and she is getting the tools, she's implementing them, and she's
Mhm.
learning through those lessons. I didn't learn these things until X amount of years. So that's beautiful
Till
that.
today, years old, right?
Mhm. So that's amazing that you're guiding her and she's actually wanting to learn and understand and deliver on those things because at 16, a lot of us, I'm going to include myself too, we're like you said, all about feelings. Oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like
Mhm.
doing that. This person said that doesn't sit well with me. And so we're making life choices based off of feelings. Um, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that's amazing. And
It's
although
it's a
she's
lot.
going through the challenges that come with that, and we experience that now in our age, right? Where we're trying to elevate, we're growing in different areas, and people don't understand it. So then they pull away from us. And the only way that they justify the separation is by saying, criticizing us. And so we've
100%.
experienced that. I'm sure you have as well.
Hmm. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
So this is why we're in community. This is why we're in collaboration. This is why we pray. And shout out to Coach Candace because before I started, before we debriefed before we started recording, she said, Crystal, you need to pray. You should pray. So I was getting all overheated, and
Mhm.
that's first and foremost. And thank you for bringing me back and grounding me in that because I do have faith. I do believe in the Lord, and I want to operate, by putting him first. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. 2024 is just that season now where if you don't have spiritual grounding, um, I'm not quite sure exactly what direction you're headed in.
Mm-hmm.
It could be you could find yourself all over the place. That same 16-year-old, my daughter Sheridan, that I was speaking about, she just got baptized yesterday.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Her and her best friend, some of the friends that she went through some of the turmoil last summer with, one of the main individuals also attends church with us and was able to baptize her. So God will fix it. He's there
Mm-hmm.
with everything that we go through. And those girls are so tight and so aligned and working so diligently in trying to, well, they're not trying to, they actually are, they're achieving, holding each other accountable. They've made plans for college and for life together. And my job is to just facilitate that. They show up at my house 8:30 Sunday mornings, and we all pile in the car and we go together. And so, I've even found my spirituality strengthened through strengthening my daughter. And I know, and I guess that would be another thing that I would say is find your grounding and never forget it because God is always there. He never leaves us.
Mm-hmm.
We leave him.
Mm-hmm.
We forget to pray to him. We forget to start our day with thank you for waking us up. If you don't do anything else, at least thank him for waking you up, right? And so, what I was telling Crystal before we got started is what I believe is these messages, these conversations that we're having with one another in collaboration with one another are just God facilitating his message through us. And it doesn't even have to be super spiritual or biblical. It could just be like you having a conversation with a friend, and all of a sudden it's, have you have you gone outside to really go and check and make sure everything's good with the car? Like it could be super random like that.
Yeah.
And that's God protecting you. If you take the same route to the store all the time and all of a sudden you just randomly took a left, I believe that's God protecting you. You weren't supposed to
Mm-hmm.
arrive at the store at that time. You weren't supposed to drive down that street and see something, or you're supposed to see something when you went in the other direction. There's something for you there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just remember you're not in it alone. You're always being guided, and we just have to remember that he's there and call him when we need him.
Yeah.
Call him when we need him.
And sometimes I think for our teens and our young adults, right, we forget that. And I've had this conversation briefly about in your early 20s, like you said, getting married, we have these timelines set in place for whatever reason, societal norms. We should be married at a certain time. We should have kids by a certain time. We should graduate in a certain time. Like life seems to be rushed. I remember being young and saying, oh, I can't wait until I'm X amount of years old so I can drive or I can go out or I
Right.
don't have to depend on my mom too much. And adulthood is not the best hood, but it can be great.
It's not adulting.
But it can be great. You make it what you want it to be. And so what would you tell teenagers or your younger self at that point, or within that age bracket of rushing life or fitting into these timelines? What would you say to that?
Sure. It's interesting because I insert myself in my daughter's life and her friends quite a bit. My house is that house where all the kids can come and hang out. I've got, I think, three of them asleep on the other side of the house as we speak.
That's the house I want to be. That's exactly
Yeah.
the house I want to be. I don't want my babies
Mhm.
nowhere. It's here.
Just stay here. Then I know what you're eating. I know who your friends are, what you guys are talking about.
Hmm.
Um, what kind of behavior and language they have, and whether or not that's a behavior and language I want around you.
Hmm.
And I am quick to tell her, and I'll tell all of them.
Hmm.
They were playing around with one another, but there was some activity where it wasn't respectful to the young man in the house. And I pulled all of them into the kitchen with me and I said, "Don't you ever do that to him." And I looked at him and I said, "Don't you ever let anybody do that to you ever again." So that self awareness and self respect is something that I would definitely want our teens to know.
Hmm.
Respect yourself. I just told you I got pregnant at 14. Now, as an adult doing the research, understanding what that stemmed from, the absence of my father, the strictness of my mother, um, who I do not fault in any form of the fashion. They did what they knew to do with the information that they had available to them. I don't fault them. You can't, right? Information wasn't readily available. Like they knew what to do based on what they experienced, what they were taught, what they thought, right? Um, but for me to get pregnant at 14 and allow a young man to do that, or for a young man to feel like I'm going to go do that, right? That's not self respect. But it's our job now that we know better, we have to do better. We have to have these conversations with our kids and say, that's not respectful of yourself, your body, your temple. This is what it means to be able to engage in those activities. Uh, use the knowledge of us. This is not us restricting you. This is us protecting you. When I was young, it was AIDS, it was chlamydia, it
Hmm.
was all the funky stuff, right? It's so much more now because viruses have mutated and things have come up and we've quote forgotten about AIDS and chlamydia and all this other stuff because it's not been the headlines, but it's still there
Yeah.
and it's still incredibly detrimental to your body. So allow the wisdom of the adults to guide you for your own protection, not restrict you. Don't see us as restricting you. We're just trying to guide you to having a full and healthy life where you're not saddled with decisions that you've made that didn't turn out the way that you wanted them to.
Mm.
Example, yes, I had him at 15. I kept him, right? My son, my beautiful son, he lives 20 minutes away from me. Came to church yesterday. He hadn't been in my church. So, 24 is turning out really great. But um, I kept him by the grace of God and family coming together as a village. I graduated on time, went to college on time, but I have yet at this age to graduate with my degree because my thought process is who am I to shorten his experience? Shorten's not the right word, to lessen his experience as a kid because I had him as a kid. My job is to be there for you fully as your mother, and give you a full life.
Mm,
And once your life is like, I'm done raising you, you're an adult, you've turned 18. I can't bail you out of jail anymore. Like, I can't come and pick you up and bail you out of jail because you've
yeah.
turned 18 and you're a legal adult. Then I can move on. So, literally, Sheridan's graduation next year in 2025 is my graduation.
Oh,
It's my last one, and I'm done.
yep,
And now
yep.
I can go and travel and I can go and finish my degree and I can go and do. Is that an excuse? Some people will call it an excuse. I don't see it as an excuse. I see it as I made a decision to bring a life into this world, and that requires a level of commitment. I unfortunately don't have partnership, and my physiology requires rest. And so I have a finite amount of energy and time. I will be able to complete various things once that mental energy, that physical energy, my physical presence that I use taking care of my children who are still in the home with me is done. And then I can move on
Wow.
and do the things that I want to do for me. But right now, as a mom of minor children, my complete and total focus and energy is making sure that they have everything that they need.
Wow, coach. That's beautiful. You're 100% right in terms of he didn't ask to be here. And so, like you said,
Mhm.
right? Why should you go to school, be a parent? You probably had to work, raising kids. Why should you
Mhm.
lessen his experience because of, the decisions that were made? I am so happy though you had a village and the statement of, telling our younger selves, hey, don't think that we're trying to restrict you. We're just trying to protect you. And I
Yes.
find that a lot of this generation, upcoming generation, they want to be so independent, but then they also don't want to experience the consequences of, that derive from that independence.
Yes.
So I have, younger cousins and it's, oh, don't tell me what to do, or I don't know, I gotta just learn through my own trials and I have to learn, and I get it. A lot of us learn that way. But why the purpose of the platform too is why go through all the hurdles if you have
Right.
someone who has great intentions, who has also been through the ringer, experience those challenges. And if I'm
Mhm.
giving you the toolkit or the tool belt or showing you a path that could potentially give you to the destination a little faster or a little smoother, then why not take that? And
Right.
that's why I love the community that we're in because there's different people with different levels of experience in coaching and guiding and keynote speaking and things of that sort. And so we collaborate and bring those resources together to lessen the load. Life is already hard.
Hard
It's already
enough.
challenging.
And it's expensive.
And it's expensive. So if, I had a coach help me get an LLC and said, "Hey, look at this link. This is what you can do for your consulting business and, help work out my mission statement, things of that sort." And so I feel ever grateful for these collaborations because it lessens the load. And so for our younger selves or, the youth that are watching, take note, take notes, take note because you have the resources in front of you. And if you don't, then connect with someone like Coach Candace to help you lead the way and make those connections for you. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with seeking assistance through mentorship, through education and training. You don't know it all, girl. You don't know it all.
Nope. I still don't know it all at
And
this
and I
age.
was just gonna say, we still don't know it all.
But I know to go ask. Like, saying I don't know is like one of the most important sentences. I don't know, but I'll find out.
Mhm. And are
Like,
you less
I'm
than because you don't
invested in
know?
you. Say again?
I was gonna say, are you a less than person because you don't know?
Oh, I grow. I get to grow because now not and for me, because uh I love to help people. Like, The majority of my assessment is people, right? I'm flight attendant, I'm grounds crew. So everything I do is for people. And so it's a double gift for me. It's almost a triple gift, depending on how you do it, right? I get to go ask, I get the knowledge, I get to support you in your effort, and I get to tell you. So I get to create an experience as I give the information to you. Like it's a triple whammy for me.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's super powerful.
yeah,
No one's gonna look at you as less than. If anything, they'll be like, you know what, Candace will go and find out. Candace is a great resource. Candace is, she's always got my back. And that just, strokes our little ego. Not that we need ego stroking, but we all need to feel like we have a purpose and that we're here supporting one another in some form or fashion. And for me, I don't know is fun. I'm gonna go and find out. I'm gonna figure it out, and then I'm gonna support you, and you're gonna be like, I can't believe you found that. And
yeah.
you're
We
welcome.
are placed, and you can probably speak to this, Coach. We are placed in these positions because we want to, right? Sometimes, for example, as a real estate agent, sometimes I get oh, she's a real, not for me specifically, but I hear it, or, these people just want their commissions. Yeah,
Mm,
everybody wants to get paid, but we're in these positions. I am a real estate agent because I genuinely enjoy helping people.
there you go.
I'm a professional personal development coach because I thoroughly enjoy, genuinely to my core, helping people, seeing that light bulb light up,
Hmm.
people, helping people get into their dream house. And so I want people to take that away. Whoever's watching is, we're in these positions because we thoroughly enjoy the position we are in. So ask the questions.
100%. And if you're not in a position that you thoroughly enjoy, you need to get with one of us or another coach that you resonate with so
Mm-hmm.
that we can help you get to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what you said about I'm here because I thoroughly enjoy it. Like that's so powerful. And I think you and I have to get better about letting people know like this is what we feel like our life's work is.
Yeah.
You thoroughly enjoy watching the joy of knowing that you help someone find a home,
Yeah.
that they will share meals, that they will have celebrations where they will lay their head, have their kids, bring their grandkids, whatever experiences are meant for that home. Like you were a part of that.
Yeah.
You were the beginning of that journey. That's amazing. For me as a communications coach, just say something a little different, or have you considered that this is why they respond the way that they do? And you watch their lights go on, and sometimes the tears flow, or they come back and they go, communication's never been better. Like I don't know what you did or what you said, but we're so much better than we were before. And like that is so powerful. We want to be here to help you, no matter who you are, no matter what your age is. Find the mentor, find the resource, come find us. We'll lead you to someone if we're not the right coach for you. But I love how you said that because you're right. We thoroughly enjoy the work that we do.
Yes. So ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. I sometimes I find myself wishing I asked for help
Mm-hmm.
as I navigated, university life by myself. I saw a couple mentors, but I was on this like prideful kind of, my mom's a single parent. She put up sheetrock. I'm going to do it all on my own. And so I missed out on a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So got to ask for that help. Coach Candace, any final words? Where can we find you? I'll definitely put up all of your contact information once I post on YouTube, but any
Sure.
final words and where can we find you?
Yes. I think the easiest place to find me is you can find me as Candace Mackey on Facebook. On Instagram, which is where a lot of my work is SwaggerMomSpeaks. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as SwaggerMomSpeaks. Not so much TikTok, but I'm working on it, right? 2024 is opening up new doors. Um, Final words. Trust the process and know that change takes time. I think the biggest lesson for me over these last several years of self-discovery has been it's not something that's done in 90 days. It's not something that's done in 6 months. Growth takes time, levels to, and it just as soon as you master that one level, there'll be another one. There's another layer of the onion to peel away. And that's okay. It takes time. Have your trusted sources of individuals that are be there to listen. It's uncomfortable to be vulnerable, but that's why you got to have like your core 2 or 3 people that
Mm-hmm.
are there for you that know you. So pick your pod, take your time, and just allow it to be. You always have a choice.
Well, thank you, Coach, for those
You're
wise
very, very
words of
welcome.
wisdom. Um, and you had said something, I don't want to forget it real quick. We'll put God first, right? He should be the start of everything, and then everything else follows.
It does. It does. It does. It does. Only God could have kept me as a 14-year-old mom. Promise you.
Mm,
A 14-year-old mom of a single mother who was already in, uh, we'll just say, not great spots, not because of choice, but just that was just life. She was, working through the things that she had to work through. She was taking care of me and my sister. It was an amazing childhood, but God took care of us. I come from generations of praying women. My grandmother is 97. She still prays.
awesome.
Keep God
All
first.
right. Well, you know where you can find Coach Candace. I will link all of her information under the YouTube description. And so thank you everyone for tuning in, joining us today, and have a great day. Thank you, Coach.
You're very, very welcome. Y'all take care of each other.
Thank you.